I'm District 5 from Sterling Heights, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. The first item is Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to go ahead and put a flag right here in front of the screen, and we can pledge allegiance. So I'll start. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll move the motion of the agenda be adopted.
Okay,
Support.
so moved by Brown, supported by Harold Hall. Please vote. Motion passes. Before we move on further, I just want to indicate to the commissioners that we do have a special closed session under item number 11 of the agenda. So when we go to that portion of the agenda, we have to mute our audio and visual, and we have a special provided number to call in for the closed session. When the closed session is over, we're going to go back. You can go back to the regular meeting and unmute yourself and unmute your audio and your video. Okay. And before, again, we move to public participation. For those here online or calling in, thank you very much for your patience. We're going to take the first members from the public who called in because they've been waiting. And once the members of the public who called in are finished with that portion, we're going to go on to the members of the public who have been waiting on via computer. Okay, so you have 5 minutes. The members of the public, please state your name and your address for the record. You have 5 minutes, and please limit your public comments to issues pertaining to today's agenda. There is public participation at the end of this meeting under agenda item number 10. Under that public participation, you can basically talk about any issue out there. But for this public participation, is basically pertaining to agenda items only. So with that, I'll open it up and we'll start. Any members from the public? Do you have any members that have called in, Mike? Any other members from the public who want to speak? Okay, before I end that portion, Mike or Patty, do we have anybody waiting for public participation at all? And if any members of the public want to speak, please do not forget you have to, when you go on your phone, you have to press star and 6. That will unmute you, and then we can hear you. If you don't press star and 6, we cannot hear you. So I'm going to allow a little latitude there, maybe another minute. So again, any members from the public who have called in, if you want to speak, you just have to star 6, and then we will hear you. Any members from the public who have called in? Okay, I believe there's no one there. We'll go on to members of the public who are waiting via computer. Is there anyone from the public who wants to speak who has been signed up via computer? Second time, any members of the public, and it looks like we don't have any members of the public.
Commissioner Mychek, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
This is Jennifer Miller. I'm just allowing the Board of Commissioners to know I'm here for a matter on the agenda regarding the DIA Arts Authority Macomb County Division. And I just wanted to say hello and make sure that you knew I was on the call waiting for that portion of the agenda. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. Okay, I'll ask 3 more times. Any members from the public? Any members from the public? Third and final time. Okay, so we don't have anyone else from the public. Again, we'll close that portion of the agenda, and we welcome the public to speak on agenda item 10, which is at the end of this agenda. We're going to move on to item number 5, which is department recommendations, which is through the road department. We have here item here, which we need a motion to approve the contract with HNTB Michigan.
You unmuted yourself.
I'll make
Motion
that
to approve.
motion.
Okay, I think that was Commissioner Lucido made the motion. Do you have support?
Correct.
Support, Carabelli.
Support. Okay, so that motion was made by Lucido, supported by Carabelli. Brian, you can go ahead. I'll give you the mic to speak on this issue, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Obviously seeking a approval for a roads asset management planning and implementation program contract with the selected firm HNTB. We did go out for advertisement for a request for qualifications. We had gotten in 2 bid proposals, one from HNTB, one from WSP Incorporated. We evaluated those proposals and had selected through an evaluation and scoring process HNTB as far as a firm to be best qualified to move forward with the work that we want to over the next 5 years. This program is established basically as pretty much a non-funded mandate from the state that we have to have certain boxes checked and information required for asset management program. As far as our roads monies and program is concerned, by the end of the year, I think it's October 1st, is what the requirement for the initial asset management program deadline is. This is a program that we want to utilize even beyond that with enhancements to further our, I guess, evaluation of road conditions and an asset management plan moving forward. It's more of an objective, analytical way of doing things and selecting projects and locations versus the more subjective. It deals with a lot of road soft data, a lot of accident data, 2 different platforms of road soft program and GIS implementation through planning department. So it's a more comprehensive system to better evaluate and move forward with our road program year after year. So this is a program that we have. It's a 5-year contract. It is a contract that we're looking for services that we would ask. Basically, it's an on-call service for services that we need moving forward, and looking for approval of this program and contract.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Brian. I have commissioners to speak. First, Commissioner Leon Drollet.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Leon. You're on.
All right, great. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for that update. The only question I had was, you mentioned that there was 2 different firms that have bid on that, when we put it out to bid for the contract. How long have we had the firm that was selected before HNTB? If so, how many times have we had it in the past? And is there a reason why we only got 2 firms to bid?
This is a new program that we have, so there was no previous asset management consultant or firm that was hired previously. This is a new mandate through the state as far as asset management requirements. So we were looking for an establishment of a firm for guidance on that to meet the minimum qualifications for that requirement, and then being able to move forward with that firm in future years to better our process and programming of projects in the future as far as our asset management, dealing with roads and bridges, as well as our intersections, our signals, our signing. That's requirements that are yet to come as far as an asset management requirement for future years. So we're looking at getting on board with the minimum boxes that need to be checked currently by October 1st, and then taking into consideration future requirements for other assets we have under our jurisdiction.
Great.
So-
Brian, do you know how many, approximately, how many companies provide this sort of a service? It doesn't sound like it's very common, to provide public management services for infrastructure like this. It has to be a specialty of different firms. Do you have a sense, is this a industry dominated by a couple big players that provide this sort of service, or is it a lot of players in each state, or is it something you're not really sure of?
I would say a project of this size and nature with a county entity, I would say the numbers of firms are minimal as far as the overall scope of it. These firms we're talking about that submitted bids, it's not only themselves, but they have a group of other firms they are doing this in conjunction with. So just as we advertised an example, just the Innovate Mound owner's rep contract that you've seen before you previously. Even though there was a contractor that was the prime, basically, they have a lot of subdivisions of subcontracted firms for specialties that they work underneath the prime, basically. So HNTB has other local firms working underneath them as a service under this contract. So, but overall, it is a kind of a select, I guess, few number of firms that would have the capabilities, locally and nationally to oversee this type of program for our local.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to ask a question. Thanks, Brian, for the answer.
Thank you, Commissioner. You're welcome.
Thank you. Next, I have Veronica Kleinfeld to speak.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Brian, you're not sporting your usual Florida glow right now. You're looking a little pale.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's a reality.
Okay, so my question is, I was looking at the contract and it talks about the need for change orders if there's things that come up that are outside the scope. And there's a time frame in which for the owner, which would be us to approve those change orders or pay those. If this were to exceed the $10 million over any percentage, would you be bringing it back to the board, or does this contract, the way it's written, it could go above 10 million at any length of any amount of dollars?
No, we would have a not to exceed amount for this contract, and anything that would be above and beyond that would have to come back for approval and authority in front of the board. So basically,
Okay.
the contract allows us to negotiate with the firm that is selected and negotiate, subsequent task orders and work orders. But yes, the overall total dollar value would not exceed 10 million. If that were the case, over the 5-year period, we would come back in front of the board with additional approvals if there was a need to exceed that amount.
Okay, you also use the term as needed. So is this up to 10 million, or is it an expectation that 10 million will be spent?
It's up to 10 million. It just allows us the flexibility. There's a lot involved with when you consider an asset management program. There's different functionalities that we could utilize their firm for on an as-needed basis. A lot of times we do go out for bids on various things, but in particular with the asset management, it's an avenue to, one, get the requirements that we need based on the state mandate and move forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
In addition, if this is not a contract that locks us into any minimum amount, it doesn't require that we give them any contract, and it's not exclusive. So if there was a need to have some type of service that we deemed better off with another firm or outside entity, this doesn't restrict us from doing that. So it's very open-ended as far as our ability to, get what we need done and accomplished as far as mandates and requirements, but gives us flexibility to sit down with them for whatever work order we're working on or task that we need to have done and negotiate an acceptable contract with them. Otherwise, we're not bound to give them any task order or work order approval. And it doesn't limit us from, still obtaining or seeking additional work from other firms.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Veronica. Any other speakers? I don't see anyone else. Last time, any other speakers? Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Chair Myjack, I apologize. I didn't get a motion maker and a second on that. I prompted the vote a little
Yeah,
early.
it was by, I believe it was Lucido or Brown, supported by Carabelli. We all set with that, Mike?
It was Lucido, supported by Carabelli.
Thank you, thank you. So I guess we have to vote again for that, Mike? So please vote. I'm showing a vote on the screen, so you might have to vote again.
Yep. And that motion passes unanimously.
Very good, thank you. The next item is a contract through MDOT, Surface Transportation Program, 10 Mile Road from 10 Mile Road to Kelly Road. Excuse me, 10 Mile Road from Kelly Road to I-94. 1.584 to $200,000.
Motion to approve, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Sure, it's motion by Hero Hall. What support do we have?
Carabelli.
Supported by Carabelli. Very good. Brian, I'll let you speak on this.
Yes, this is a standard MDOT contract with STP funds, Surface Transportation Program funding on 10 Mile Road from Kelly Road to I-94. Obviously, there's a contribution of federal funds of about almost 1.3 million total project cost, and then so the balance would be split between Roseville and East Point and ourselves. So the remaining balance, as you can see on the last page there, as far as the cost breakdown, participation with roads, Roseville and East Point. So seeking approval of this contract and that contract.
Very good. Before I have a speaker here, but before I open that up, just one question. And this pertains to all the road projects going on, like now and into the summer, Brian. My question is with our issues with the COVID-19, does that hamper or delay any of these road projects that we're seeing?
To date, we have not seen any substantial or significant delays in any of our projects. We've got, I think, 3 active projects out there right now that are moving forward as we currently speak. We have a handful that are coming out probably within the next couple, 2-3 weeks. So, you know, as long as obviously our workers are following the CDC recommendations and health department guidelines for social distancing and PPE, just as well as the contractors and their workforce. But we've seen no immediate issue with moving forward with our projects. Obviously, everybody understands that for the executive order with the governor, we are an essential service provider.
Right.
Our projects are to move forward as scheduled.
Right.
So.
Thank you for those comments. I have first on the list Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. I was looking at the cost breakdown, Brian, and so the remaining after the federal, you have 287.5, and you have our cost share at 205,000, which would leave Roseville and East Point at 82.5. And I was wondering how you did the percentage, because I went with, if it was a 50-50, meaning they each paid 25 and we paid 50, then our cost would have been 138,750 and theirs would have been 69,375 each. Instead, it looks like theirs is 41,250. So how did you determine this cost breakdown?
The sheet I'm looking at as far as the Exhibit A estimated cost, total project cost is $1,698,800, less federal funding of $1,289,500. So there's a total cost to be shared of $409,300. And with that cost to be shared, further breakdown of participant totals would be Macomb County Department of Roads would be half of that, which would be $204,650. And then each city of Roseville and city East Point would be $102,325, which would be $25,50.
Okay. I didn't see an exhibit A. I saw an exhibit
You unmuted
one
yourself.
at the very end. So can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So on that, it has the grand total at 1,584,000. I don't see an exhibit A. But let me go back to details. So on the BOC recommendation, it's got the total cost of the project at 1,584,200, with the feds putting in 1,296,000, and so the remainder would be 287,500, and so you've got the county's estimate at 205. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just saw the sheet that you're looking at.
Can we take a look at that before full board? Anyway, I could vote to forward it on to full board and just take a look at that, because I don't see an exhibit A. I see an exhibit 1, and it's got the same numbers on it.
Yeah, I can surely find that out. I'm looking at the one I'm looking at.
So
Okay.
you're saying that the balance here is 287,000 on this exhibit 1, and what Brian said, you know, that should be less than that. 100. That should be what, 204 or 205.
Yeah, I think there needs
Ryan,
adjustment to that exhibit 1 that you're looking at, Brian, or Commissioner Kleinfeld. Yeah, I believe that needs to be adjusted and
That
amended.
needs to be adjusted then,
Okay.
so that's off, and we'll make sure we get that corrected for the full board. Does that sound good, Veronica?
yeah, and just real quick, Brian, because you posted all the road projects, I got some phone calls from some council members, and so I have a series of questions that I don't want to take up your time on this meeting. But
Okay.
if we could connect in the next couple of days, that would be great.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, Veronica. Next on the list, we have Commissioner Tuja.
Unmuted yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian, nice job. Question is, we had 10 Mile Road between DeQuinder and Ryan on the original list. And is that now project moved out?
No, Commissioner, that's still on our program to move forward. That's going to be a local project. Yes, that is on list to be done. From Ryan.
All right, fair enough. I thought that it might have been canceled. Nice job. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other commissioners wishing to speak? Okay,
Yeah, Bob.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Any commissioner?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marv.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, when the truck's over on Kelly Road doing that part, and then it comes over to the Quinder, you're going to go through center line on 10 Mile Road, and that needs it too. Okay? Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks, Marv.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other commissioners willing to speak? Okay, seeing none, please vote.
Commissioner Majek, that motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. Be safe and healthy.
Thank you, Commissioners. Take care.
Thank you. Item number 6 pertains to Public Works. I know we have Brian Baker there. We need a motion for this resolution, pledging to Macomb County's full faith and credit for the Oakland-Macomb Interceptor Drain District OMID bonds. Can I get a motion and support, please?
Don Brown.
Okay, so
Romano supported.
Okay, so it's moved by Commissioner Brown, supported by Commissioner Romano. Let me first of all welcome Brian and open up discussion. You're on, Brian.
All right, Rob, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
All right, great. camera's not working for some reason, but so this is a full faith and credit pledge. We've done this in the past for both the mid and the OMID, and basically this is utilizing the county's excellent bond ratings. It's to back OMID bonds, and these are projects that was petitioned by the city of Sterling Heights for OMID to do the work, and Macomb County is 2/3 of OMID. It's being funded by the Great Lakes Water Authority savings that we were able to get out of the Great Lakes Water Authority. About $8 million a year now OMID is saving, and that is allowing us to finance these improvements to the Northeast Pump Station and the North Interceptor East Arm. It's about $99 million of projects that OMID is ready to sell the first series of bonds on. And this will allow OMID then to get a better interest rate on the bonds, save money for the 11 Macomb communities that are in the mid. And it also protects the county as a clawback in case any of the county or communities will default on any of these bonds. They've never done it over the history, and the county's always pledged it. And Oakland County is also scheduled to approve this resolution in early May. That's it.
Very good. I don't have any speakers yet, so I guess I'll speak first on this. I'm just curious, Brian, how long did it take you and I guess maybe finance department in the county or the treasurer's office to work on this from start to finish? I'm just curious.
Well, the deal with GLWA took several years in order to do it. And that was the big hurdle. One, as some of the county commissioners know, to form this augmented drain board and we don't have ownership of it, but we have the ability now to finance the improvements ourselves and do the maintenance at a much lower interest rate for us to finance the bonds and us to be able to control our own destiny, because the flow through this pump station and NIEA are only Macomb and Oakland County's flow. So it's been talked about for over 10 years, and in the last 2 years it's really been hot and heavy in terms of getting the agreement, and that was effective July of 19. So it now has been up to the engineers to design these improvements and get these projects going over the next year now.
Okay. And then when did we get locked into these bonds? Recently?
We have not sold the bonds yet, so this is the first step. Yep.
So my next question is, and I think I've talked to you at drain board meetings, is with everything that's happened with the market, how are we looking when you go and you issue these bonds? Say now versus say 2 months ago, right? Or say 6 months from now.
Yeah. We were very fortunate, as you know, when we've now saved $12 million. Candace's office has saved $12 million on refinancing. We were very fortunate on the last mid refinancing that we did. And that was back a couple months ago, I think February. We hit the market at the very low point. We were fortunate. And of course, certainly before all the market instability now, but rates are certainly still down. There's been some uncertainty on getting the bonds sold at a certain time. It seems to be freeing up a little bit now, some of the market uncertainty and confusion. I know Great Lakes Water Authority's deal was held up, and I think you guys refinancing your OPEB bonds was held up. But I know GLWA now is pushing forward with their bond sale in the next several weeks. So it seems like there's some stability, but I think we're still several months away from actually selling the bonds on these OMID bonds.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Any commissioners willing to speak? I don't have anybody on the speaker list. Seeing none, please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you for coming here today, Brian. Keep up the good work and be safe and healthy.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the board chair appointment for the Macomb Art Institute Authority. It's a reappointment for Jen Miller. And then this would go, I believe, to our full board. Is that correct, Mike?
Hey, Rob, this is Bob Smith.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the appointment of the board chair. So it will just get forwarded to the full board. But I just wanted to, and I know Jen mentioned it, that she was on the line. So wanted to hope that you would give her an opportunity to talk a little bit about what she's done and some of her goals maybe for the next couple of years in this, or next year in this.
Sounds
or 2 years.
Sounds great. We'll open up discussion. Jen Miller, you there?
I am.
Great. Thanks for coming today.
I appreciate the time and opportunity. I'd like to thank Chair Smith for allowing me this opportunity to talk to you about the challenges we're going to be facing as the Arts Authority. As you know, the agreement we have with the Arts Authority has a lot of participation goals outlined in it. My concern now becomes with our new reality of COVID-19 and social distancing. How are we going to achieve those? How are we going to achieve getting the numbers of field trips in when there's no school, senior groups when we know that seniors are our most vulnerable? So we had a meeting yesterday, and we're going to continue to dive in and looking at amending that agreement, which would have to go back to you to talk about how we achieve new goals and new realities amongst COVID-19. Two projects that I'm excited about that the other counties have not negotiated is in our new agreement, we will have an art project in every community during the life of this millage. And that's one thing we can start working on immediately. And so we're looking at getting a calendar, which I will share with you once it is obtained, of which projects will happen in each community so that you can be involved and share with the local communities as county commissioners when these projects are arriving and who the stakeholders should be and where the best location in each community is going to be. So that's a project I'll be working with you on if I am reappointed to make sure that you have valuable input into that. Lastly, and I could go on and on, but I won't. I know that these calls are hard, but we need more representation, plain and simple, on that board. We are working with Jean Gagero, who is the chair, to demand that Macomb County get more representatives. They have a May 11th meeting. We are looking to bring more members' names forward at that meeting. There's also a November meeting, and our goal is to get the same representation that Wayne and Oakland receive. As you know, the Arts Authority agreements give each Arts Authority 2 members. The problem for our representation levels is this: Oakland and Wayne already had 18 to 20 plus already on the board. So we really only have 2 to 3 representatives while they're in the 20s. Unacceptable. We need to work on that. And that's one thing that I am very passionate about. I'm happy to answer questions, happy to continue to talk about things that we are working on. But at this point, I won't take any more of your time and allow you to ask me any questions should you have them. I would be honored to continue to serve. I know who I am representing on the board. I think you know that. I attend your meetings. I make sure that you are brought into important decisions. And I will continue. You have my word that I understand I am the board's representative and will continue to communicate with you regularly to make sure that your voice is heard on the Arts Authority.
Great. Thanks, Jen. First on the list, I have Commissioner Leonetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. Jen, thank you so much for the work that you do in your position here. You're going to get my vote for sure, or at least my convincing the chair to vote for you. I really appreciate everything you've done, and I wanted to let you know that you were very informative to us during the DIA millage, and I know you've been in there fighting for the things that you see that, Macomb's a little shortchanged on. So keep up the good work, okay? I hope our chair does the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next on the list, I have Commissioner Hero Hall.
Thank you, Chair. Jen, we're getting feedback. Jen, thanks for all you do. When Dave Flynn and company made the pitch for supporting of the DIA millage, this subject about unfair representation for Macomb County was brought up with them, and they indicated that they were going to take a look at trying to fix that. So is there anything we can do as a Board of Commissioners to help you with that initiative? And I'll let you answer.
Excellent question, Commissioner Hall. I think where you can be helpful is this. We did not put it in the Arts Authority agreement because it does us no good if every county gets additional seats. We don't need Wayne and Oakland and their arts agreements to get more seats. We singularly need more seats. So when they come and present to you their end of the year findings, please be supportive of me on this, saying, where are we in the process of getting more representation on the board? We're told that there's no limit, but here becomes our difficulty. There are requirements to be on the board, some financial, some others, and it puts Macomb County as more of a working class, working grit, arts-loving people at a disadvantage, right? Because not all of us can give a certain amount of money, me included. I couldn't be on the DIA board if I wanted to. And so we're working with them to try to change some of these requirements to be on the board to make all people who pay on the millage and all counties representative have more representatives. So when they come and present to you asking for updates on this, I think will be key to continue to push them to get us more representatives on the board.
Thank you. And again, thanks for all you do, Jen. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'm very excited that you're representing us. I appreciate it, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing and how you're fighting for us. It really comes through when you come and you speak to us. I support you 100% on that. I fully understand how the board was created and why it's so off kilter. But what they aren't taking into account when they do it that way is the fact that our residents are paying taxes that also goes in. So I think that's where we maybe make our argument about the representation, because that works well for raising money, but the board really does have an important function outside of that. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing on our behalf.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Next on the list, Chairman Bob Smith.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Jen, for agreeing to represent us again, because, we do appoint a lot of different people to different boards. And I will say that you're probably the most responsive and in tune with what the commission wants when it comes down to our extension of our board. And that's really what you guys are, is kind of an extension of us and our community. So I want to tell you how much I appreciate your active participation both there and with us. And Rob, you don't have to hope I've done the right thing. I've done the right thing. I'm just telling you about it. And this is a chance for everybody to talk to Jen and have her kind of explain what we're doing and what we're up against in the next few years. So Jen, again, thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Chair, for your confidence in me. I will work very hard to make the board proud. Thank you.
Great. Next on the list, Commissioner Don Brown.
Yes, I've got a couple of constituents I've been interested in putting on that board, and look forward to working with you after you're appointed to put their names in and get them on the board so they can represent us as Macomb County. So I look forward to working with you. You've done a great job being an advocate for us, detail-oriented and all the rest, and we need to give you some support. And I've got a couple names I think that'll help you do that.
Terrific. My email is on the application. I won't share since it's a public meeting, but feel free to email me any names, and you have my word. I will present any and all names to the Arts Authority to talk about it in regards to discussion. So please reach out if you have names of board members that you think would be valuable.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Gillette.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Jen, thanks so much for being willing to serve on the authority board. I think what you identified as a concern is obviously a result of the change in the funding of the DIA. When the DIA was, for a long time, it was funded by donation. So it made a perfectly logical sense for the people with the biggest donations to be on the board. So we have we ended up with a board that was dominated by relatively wealthy folks. And then we undergo this change where now, so the majority of the DIA's funding comes from citizen taxpayers, but those folks can't afford to be on the board. The average citizen taxpayer, can't raise $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, $1 million a year to contribute to the DIA. So we have this sort of hybrid system where average Joe citizen is now being, required to pay for the DIA, but only wealthy folks can afford to affect the direction of the DIA. So I greatly appreciate your recognition of that disparity and the work that you're doing to include more folks from Macomb County on the board, and anything that you can do to change the DIA's overall policy with regard to who serves on the board, so it's a more equal opportunity situation now that it's an equal opportunity tax, I think is greatly appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I couldn't agree more. We're going to the governance committee of the full DIA board to express our concerns regarding monetary required contributions. Like you said, if we are all in this together and we all want our voices heard and our money collectively is good enough to support the DIA, then our voices need to be heard on that full board and equal representation. And I will continue to fight for that.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no further speakers. This is a receive and file, so I need a motion to receive and file, please.
You unmuted yourself.
Motion to receive and file, Duji.
We have support. I didn't hear who supported that.
Paul was
Support by
supported.
Leonetti.
Okay, so that's moved by Duje, supported by Leonetti to receive and file. Please vote. Thank you very much, Jen Miller. Keep up the good work.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you for all your service during these frightening times. We appreciate it. Elected officials are the other unsung heroes continuing to do government's work during these times. So thank you all very much and have a blessed day.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, with that, we'll go on to item number 8, correspondence. I need to receive and file motion for A through G. Can I please get that?
Mr. Chairman.
Move A through G in their entirety.
Moved by Gillette.
Make a motion to approve A through G in one motion.
Right, so we have a motion by Gillette, supported by Duje. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, please vote to receive and file the correspondence.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Mike. We'll go on to item number 9 of this agenda, new business. Is there any new business, commissioners? Any new business? Third and final time, any new business? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to now public participation. If there's anyone there from the public calling in or going through the computer, if you want to speak, you have 5 minutes. You can talk about any issue. And you have 5 minutes, and please state your name and address for the record. Do I have anybody from the public? You have to star 6 your phone to unmute yourself. Anyone from the public? And I'll wait another 10 seconds, folks. Any third and final time, anyone from the public? Okay, seeing none, commissioners, we'll close that portion under the agenda. We'll close that. We have to go now to closed session. And I believe, Mike, do we need a motion to go in closed session?
Yes, you'll need a motion to do that.
Motion by
Motion to go to
Leonetti
closed session by Romano.
Okay, it's moved by Leonetti, supported by Romano. And once again, commissioners, once we go into closed session, you're going to have to mute your audio and your visual, and you're going to have to call the phone number, that specially provided phone number. Okay, if you have any problems, I think you can either call or text Mike or Patty. They will assist you in that.
Chair Myjack,
Yes.
you're required to state the litigation in the motion. If you would just state it, they've already made the motion and the support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. So it's a closed session to discuss pending litigation. Jermaine Harvey versus Lieutenant John Mickley, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Detective John Becker, Macomb County Circuit Court case number 19-490-N0. Dequan Flowers versus County Macomb et al. United States District Court case number 218 CV 10336. Okay, so we have a motion. It's supported. Please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Very good. And once again, commissioners, please mute your audio, your visual.
Okay.
Call that number.
You unmuted yourself.
Hello? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right, so motion to adjourn by Dujay, supported by Gillette. Did I do that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Please vote to adjourn, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Be safe, everybody.
That motion does pass, Mr. Chair.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
See you tomorrow, 7 o'clock at night.
All right. Thanks, Chairman. Good meeting.
Good job, guys. Be safe.
Rob, did I miss it? Did you officially adjourn the meeting?
Yes, he did.
Oh, got it. I didn't get back fast enough. Thanks.
Okay.